Hi everyone, my name is Rita, and I have a fun project for you today. Today, we're going to make a tea towel dress to hang from the handle of your oven. Aren't these dresses adorable? I remember when my daughter was a little girl and she would wear something similar, and it brings back all the nostalgia from that. So let's get started. For this project, you're going to need one non-directional tea towel. I chose this one. And then just raid your stash. Find some fabric that matches with it. I chose this pink because I like the pink in the tea towel. And then you're going to need some double fold bias tape. That's going to be for the neckline, the neck hole. And then you either need some wide single fold bias tape or some grosgrain ribbon. Personally, I like the grosgrain ribbon. It just looks nicer, and I think it just gives it that little bit extra. And then lastly, what you're going to need is some double sticky tape, and that's going to help you put that tie on the side here. It's going to make stitching it so much easier. So let's talk about the tea towels now. So these are some tea towels that I have gotten, and I just went to the dollar store. Honestly, these are the best tea towels to get. The ones that I like that work the best for this project are the poly cotton or the linen, something like that. I find the terry towel is a bit harder to work with. So if you're used to working with terry towel, you can give that a try. Personally, I like the linen one. So this is the one that I've tried that I said I like. And I'm just going to put this here. And this is the fabric that I chose from my stash. Now, I had to make sure that I have enough fabric for the front and the back, or the top and the bottom, because there's a lining part to the top of the tea towel dress. And I do have a pattern for that. It'll be in the link below. And what I have done is I have taken some template plastic and I have cut it out from here because, you know, I'm going to be making more than one. I love these so much, and they make great gifts, especially for Mother's Day, Christmas, anything like that, housewarming. So I made a template that I can reuse a lot, and that's going to save me some time. And I just need to make sure that whatever fabric I choose, I can get 2 of these out of. So let's try it. So I've got my fabric here, and we're just going to open it up, and I'm going to put the template on it and trace around it. And after I trace around it, we're just going to cut that out. But having a template like this, look how easy it is. It just makes it so much easy to trace that out. Just using my Choco liner here. I love these Choco liners. Whoops. Get that there. I can make a whole bunch of these in one evening. Whoops. Oh, and then we got to do the neck hole. Oops. There we go. And just quick and easy like that, I'm just going to cut this out now, and I will get back to you. Okay. So I've cut this out now, and we have the top and the bottom, or the front and the back. You can use the same fabric, which is what I like to use, or you can use different fabric. If maybe you really like one piece of fabric and you just don't have quite enough, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Then what you need to do is, and I always need to check my template because there is really only a 2-inch difference between each side, because one is the armhole side and that's the side you have to sew. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put these right sides together. Whoops. Right sides together, and we are going to sew the armholes closed. You need to leave the bottom open so that the dress or the tea towel can fit in there. So we're going to sew right along here, this way, along here, and like that. But what we're going to do is on either end here, we're going to leave it open maybe 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. It doesn't need to be anything scientific, just leave it open a little bit on this side and on this side. So let's go to the sewing machine and we'll do that now. Oh, one thing I like to always do is back tack a little bit, just to secure those stitches. And leave the needle in when you turn so that you don't lose your spot. sew this really quick here. These make really great little kits. I really like this. You got a back tack again on the bottom. And then you basically just need to do that the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to quickly do that here right now as well. And I'm basically just sewing 1/4 of an inch, maybe just a tad more. That's all you want. You don't need to do like 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeters if you're in Canada. You just need to leave just a little bit there. So as you can see, I did leave a little bit of an opening here and here and here and here. And what we're going to do is right now, we're just going to trim off these little corners right here so that when we go to fold them, when we turn it inside out, it won't leave a big mess in there and it's hard to turn in the corners. So we do that. And then last but not least, what we're going to do is these little right here, you want to trim. I'm going to get my smaller scissors actually. You want to trim this right to the corner. Don't cut the thread, just right to the very edge. And what that does is when you go to turn it around, it's going to give you that nice corner, that nice sharp corner. Do that on all 4 sides. Last one. And then what we're going to do is just throw that away. We are going to turn this inside out and press it. And as you can see, it is coming along nicely. Oops. Just, if you have some sort of tool to just make these corners nice, I just have my any pokey little thing you can use. You just want to make sure that it's all nice. And then you want to give it a quick press. After that, there we go. Oh, little thread poking out. We got it there. Okay, so there you see. So you can sort of see how it's nicely coming together. Just move this here, and let's just give it a quick press. Want to make sure that those seams are out like that. Oops. Let's try it this way. There we go. I'm right-handed, so it's a little bit harder this way. Let's see. Okay. And once more here. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Okay, so now we're like, you got the neck hole. What are we gonna do with the neck hole? It's still like open. This is the kind of tricky part. So I'm gonna get here we go. We're gonna get the bias tape. This is the double fold bias tape, and just cut a piece off that's roughly around that size, like that. And what I like to do is here, I'll move this ironing board because I really want you to see this. I take the bias tape, and as you can see, there's a little tiny piece. When you fold it in half, one part is a little bit longer than the other part. That I usually have, let's see, I want to put it, yeah, so I usually have this, the shorter part, does that make sense? The shorter part on top, and I'm going to kind of press it in the same shape as this circle, and this is just going to help me when I go to attach it. So as it, bias tape is great for that. It's cut on the bias, that's the whole point of it. So I'm just doing it like, see how it stays? That's what you want it to do. So I'm gonna just do this here, press it a little bit more. And I'm gently pulling it as I'm pressing it so it goes in that circle, so it stays in that circle. And now what I want to do is I'm going to take my tweezers, and I just kind of I want to put the raw edges together as much as possible on here. And okay, this is the finicky part. So I'm sorry, there's always a little bit of a finicky part, right? You're just basically going to sandwich that right in between there. You see how I'm doing that? You're literally just sandwiching the bias tape in between the raw edges of the top. So let me get this all done and I'll come right back and show you the next step. So I'm back now and we have put in the bias tape here around the neckline. I use the regular kind, not the extra wide kind. You can use the extra wide kind. It's not as finicky. I like the look of the skinnier kind because it's a small dress, so I think it should be like size appropriate. That's just the way I wanted to do mine. So I've got it squished in here now. To hold it in place, I'm just going to use a glue pen or just some sort of glue. And as you can see, I'm just underneath it, I am putting the glue on here so that it can stay. And when I take it over to the sewing machine there, it's not going to come apart because that's the last thing I want to do. Okay. And you'll notice I didn't fold it over there at the end. That's totally fine. No one's going to notice that. They're going to notice how cute it is. I'm not going to take apart your sewing. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and this is also the time if you want to add any embellishments or decoration, you can do that. So if you wanted to, like here's some baby rickrack, you could put some like on the edge of the sleeve right here, like that. You could just sew it down. I'm not going to do that for this one, but I'm just giving you examples. If there's some sort of embellishment that you want to put, sometimes you could put like rickrack maybe around the neck hole there. Sometimes there's those little things with like the little fuzz balls. Whatever you'd like. Totally embellish it. Put little buttons down there. This is the time to do it. So I'm just making this one here and I'm going to take it to the machine and I'm just going to stitch right to the edge here just to grab it so it stays in place. So let's do that right now. And here we go. I need to go a little bit slow on here because you do want to get the curves. And by putting the shorter part, the shorter folded over part of the bias tape on the top, it means you're definitely going to catch the one on the bottom. That's why I like to do it that way. Just cut that little thread off. Make sure that's there. And we're done. Let's do a little back stitch there. I didn't back stitch at the beginning because I'm going to do it at the end. But there you go. That's what it looks like. See? All nice and neat. And from the underside, you can see that I've caught it all there as well. So now what we're going to do is, there you go. See? It's folded in half. You've got your little dress top already. Isn't that cute? You're almost there, folks. Now what we want to do is we want to take the tea towel and let me just grab it. We are going to fold it in half lengthwise. Actually, you know what? Let's just cut the tag off. What is this? This one's a sticker. Okay, you don't need that. So we're going to make sure I have nothing underneath there. We're just going to fold it this way and nothing scientific about it. We're literally just going to cut it in half. Just like this. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take these edges right here. These ones, we're going to gather them because this is part of the dress. This is what's going to be part of the dress. So we go to, now take your stitch length right up. Oops, wrong way. And, oh, I have to make sure I have some thread coming out on the bottom part here because Otherwise I won't be able to do any gathering. So I'm just going to grab my bobbin thread. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to, you need to have, when you gather, you need to have a tail here because you need to pull one of these threads. And if you don't have that tail there, it's going to come undone. So you do need to always have a long tail when you do your gathering. Have it on the longest stitch length. So if you have an automatic cutter, you cannot use it when you want to gather. You have to actually be manual and cut it yourself. So let's do it on this one here as well. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these are, a little bit gathered already. A little trick that I learned is when you want to gather stuff, if you pull the bobbin thread, the one underneath, that is the one that you should pull, and it makes the gathering so much easier. So let's try that. See? Oh, actually, hold on. Let's stop that for 1 second. We need to find the middle of this. So let's just fold it in half like this and just get a little marking pen, and I'm going to just mark this right here. So that's half. And then this same thing on this side. Again, it doesn't need to be scientific. You can see that it's a little roughly already. You just basically want generic in half. And just mark that here. And then you kind of want to do the same thing. Let's move this over here. So we'll just use the grid. And if we use, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll just move it a little bit so it's a little bit in between those there. Here's the middle. So let's mark that there and there on this side. And we'll do the same on the other side. So we'll do, so it was like there, 1, 2, 3. And mark it there. I use these friction pens. I love using friction pens. Some people like them, some people don't. I like using them because they iron off really easy, and I've never had a problem with them staying marked on quilts or projects or anything. So, okay, so I am going to pull the bobbin thread. Let's see here. And just want to pull this like this, and on the other side as well. And I'm going to do that on this one here too. Let's see here, where's the bottom? It's going to be such a cute little project. I love pink and purple. It's my favorite colors. Okay. So here we go. Now, what we need to do, so this is going to be the front of the tea towel dress. So I always have to think a little bit. So this is the front. So I need it to go this way. I want to stitch it to this side here. So I'm going to flip it over like this. Find that middle. Where was that middle? It was right around here. And I'm going to put a pin in there. So I'm going to stitch it to the front, to the top. My little owl here with the little pin. Actually put the pin in this way. And then, remember I told you to leave that open a little bit? It's because we want to turn it under. And it's hard to turn under if it's stitched all the way. I found that out the hard way. It's usually how we find things out. Okay. I'm just going to pin and pin. Whoops. Like this, as you can see. I'm just pinning, oops. And then what we're going to do is just stitch it in place. Oops, where's that under one? Here we go. We're just going to stitch that on there like this, and we're going to do that to the other side as well. So I'm just going to pin that in place right now as well, because might as well save some time. Find the middle here, which was here, the middle here. And the great thing about this project is there's really not a lot of measuring. It's a lot of just eyeballing. So anybody can do it. This would probably be a cute little craft to show your granddaughter or your grandson if he's into sewing. Getting kids. I love getting kids started into sewing. Something small and easy for them to make, or even just to help make, so they can feel like that sense of accomplishment. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so as you can see, we have that here. I'm just going to stitch just on the outside edge here. So as you can see, the stitching line is here. I'm going to stitch right on this side just to try to hide that and catch it. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that right now. Now I'm going to set my stitch length back to a regular size because I don't want the basting size anymore. Oh, and I should say, remember that you're only sewing through the one layer of fabric, not the lining piece, just the top layer. You'd have to just move it out of the way a little bit. And you do want to reinforce that stitching. So definitely stitch back and forth on that to set that stitch. Just like move the gathers around. Just make sure they're kind of even. There you go. Just sort of like that. Okay, so here we are. We're going to stitch this down and we're going to secure it. That little back stitch there will hold that in place. And we're just going to like gather these, make sure that they're sort of even, not too bulky in one section. And you're just going to stitch just to, what is that, the left of the stitching line. Pull your needles out as you get to them. And on the other side here. Okay, so one side is done. And let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, so now we want to go to the other side here, and we want to make sure that this is stitched to this front side only, making sure that the back is not in the way. So let's do that one more time for the back of the dress. Put that down there, take the needle out. And just want to sort of gather those stitches evenly. So it's all a nice ruffly dress. There you go. And I'm going to, again, back stitch there. Get that thread out of the way. Make the surface all even. Get into that needle, take it out. And then here we go. The last little bit. Pull that up there. That looked a little uneven. Okay. And just take your time doing this. There's no rush. Take the pin out and back stitch some more. Okay, then we have a whole bunch of threads in the way, so let's cut all those threads off. Okay. So you're going to have all these long basting threads and whatnot, so we can just trim those right off. We don't need those anymore. That was just to help us gather the skirt. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so far it looks like that's looking coming along, right? Now what we have to do is on the inside. This is why you had to leave the little sides open, not stitch them all the way shut, is because now, as you can see here, we're going to fold it to the inside and we're going to fold this one to the inside. And it just makes it so much neater and easier to do if it wasn't stitched all together. So we're going to take this to the iron here. And let's move the iron over here so I can show you. And we are going to, actually, you know what we'll do is we will give it a nice little press on this side from the right side, just to press the cotton down there, the top of the dress. And then we're just going to take this, and all we want to do, see how that stitching there? Just basically want to just cover that up a little bit. So just fold it over. See how I've got it folded it there? Not much at all. I want it to cover that line a little bit, because what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to stitch in the ditch. Okay. So I'm going to put that there. And we're just going to iron that. Again, no, nothing scientific, nothing that you have to get your measuring tools out for. It's literally all do it as you go. Okay. So there's that side done, and then we'll do this side here. And we'll iron from the top. Just pull the dress down a little bit like that. Give that a nice little press there. Turn it over, and then we're going to just turn this under. So this is the lining side. So this is what I said, if you don't have enough fabric of your favorite kind that you wanted to use for the front of the dress, you can use a different kind of fabric. Just try to make sure it's a little similar, because sometimes you'll see it a little bit. But yeah, typically, if you can keep it the same fabric, that would be the best. So again, we're just going to fold that over here. Give that a good little press. Tuck that corner in there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a basting stitch on again. Get this out of the way. We're just going to baste this now, because technically this part is going to be covered. This part right here, that's going to be covered because we're going to put the ties on there. That's where I'm going to put the grosgrain ribbon. But I do need it to secure the back part, because that part won't have the grosgrain ribbon or anything on there. So I do need to secure that, and I'm going to do that with a basting stitch. So we'll do that right here. Turn that up a bit. Okay. Just make sure I caught that all. You know what? Maybe I'll put a little pin in there. I think that might work a bit better, just to be sure. Okay. There. And put a pin in here. I'm not a big fan of pins, but sometimes they're necessary. Okay. Thread hanging here. Let's cut that. Okay. So I'm just going to stitch in the ditch here. Move that up there. Now I know I have a pin coming up here, so I'm just going to pull that out in advance. Another pin coming up here, so I'm going to pull that out in advance. Oops. There we go. There's that one. Okay, so now we've caught that in the back, so that's pretty good there. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So let me just put a pin in here. Do you see how this is coming together? Isn't it cute? It's so cute. And it actually goes together really quick. I like to do these in like an assembly line type of thing. So then I just sit at one evening at my sewing machine and I just get them all done. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do this one here. And I'm not even back stitching. I'm just literally holding it in place like that. Taking out that pin. Another pin coming up here. And the final pin. Okay. So, I mean, it does give it a nice, neat finish already, as you can see. And from the back as well. It's all nice and neat. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some grosgrain ribbon on here. And I have already gone ahead and cut this to be 35 inches. I've actually cut two of these ones here because, and I cut them on an angle. So as you can see, I've cut them a little bit on an angle. And if you are afraid that it might fray, go ahead and put some fray check on there. I didn't do that. So, but go ahead. That's something, if that bothers you, you can definitely go ahead and do that. I have just ironed them in half so I could see the middle part. And I'm just going to wing it. And I'm just going to wing it and put it on roughly in the middle. No measuring, just eyeballing. This whole thing is all about eyeballing. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine here. And I'm putting this roughly in the middle. And when I say I'm putting this on here, I should let you know, I'm not putting it just to the edge here or just to the edge here. I'm literally going to sandwich it right in the middle. See how it's kind of going on each side here? Right, like that. That's how I'm going to do that. So, and I'm just going to sew a little bit. I'm just going to sew on the edge right here and on the edge right here, just to secure that in place. And let's do that here. Also going to back stitch because that's going to be a stress point. So you always want to back stitch when there's a stress point. Set my machine to a regular stitch length. And one more. Oh, I didn't quite catch that. Let me just quickly go over there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing, the same thing on this side, just on the inside edge. A little fray thing from the tea towel. Okay, one side done. Let's cut the little threads here. And then we're going to do the same thing, flip it over. We're going to do the same thing on this side. And here's that little fold mark where I ironed it. Just going to sort of eyeball that in the middle. And stitch this one in place. Oh, it's almost done. Again. Okay, and then on this side, just make sure the gathers are kind of even again. Okay, look at that, folks. We are done. Just going to clip these threads. Just going to clip those threads and we're done. So all you need to do is tie these up. And oh my gosh, this is adorable. Oh my gosh, this is so adorable. Just tie it up in a little bow. Like that. And then this one. Oh, so sweet. Okay. And there you go. It's all done. Isn't that cute? Doesn't it make you want to make more? I love these. The first time I got one, I was like, I need to make this. I need to learn how to make this. And then so I made the pattern, and then I promptly made about 15 of them all at once. And I gave them out as Christmas gifts, and everyone loved them. So these would even be great to sell at craft fairs. So there you go. Quick and easy project for you. Tea towel dress for your oven door. Hope you had a good time watching this, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please click the subscribe link below to be notified of more fun things to come. See you next time. Happy sewing.